Hello, my name is Nick McPhee, and this is the third in a set of 4 videos illustrating some very simple basics of shell scripting in the bash shell. In previous videos, we've taken a GitHub project, we've forked it, we've cloned it onto the working computer, and we've seen how we can use bats test, where bats is a unit testing tool or an acceptance testing tool for shell scripts. How we can use bats test to sort of drive the development of a script, and we have created an empty script that's got, or now not quite empty script, that at least is executable. So we've gotten a few tests done. If we run the tests, we'll see that the first 3 pass. The script exists, it is executable, and it runs without generating an error. But all the remaining tests fail. In this video, we are going to fix all of these tests, everything but the very last one, by doing the simplest thing that could possibly work. We're going to take the test-driven development mantra very seriously and do some things that might be seen as somewhat silly, but we'll get these tests to pass, learn a few things about shell scripting along the way, and then in the next final video, we'll, in some sense, finally solve the problem by actually getting that last test to pass. Now, if we look at our script, we see that our script has this shebang line that says, hey, you should interpret the lines in this script as bash commands. And then we have one command, which is to ls test data, and that script exists, it is executable, it runs without generating an error, but it does not generate a single line of test. ls test data, if we look at that, is 3 things, and in scripting land, these will actually turn out to be 3 separate lines, and so the script is going to see this as generating 3 lines of output, which is why this test is failing. And one way we can see that is if we say ls test data and we pipe that into word count minus L. WC stands for word count, minus L says only give us the lines, how many lines there were. And normally we would say like word count and then maybe minus L or whatever flags we need, and then the name of a file, and we would get the word count for that file. By using pipe here, we're saying take the output of this command and make that the input to WC minus L. So we're saying how many lines, word count minus L, does the output of this ls have? And if we run this, we see that it's 3. So that's a way of seeing that ls generates 3 lines, which when we run it just at the command line here, it looks like only 1 line, but that's really more about how it gets laid out on the screen than about the output itself. And that's why this test fails. So we can make that test pass a lot of ways. Basically anything here that generates a single line of output would do. I'm going to go ahead and use echo. Echo takes an expression, evaluates that expression, and prints that expression on the screen. So in this case, if I say echo hello world, it prints out hello world. And so this script, if I run it, also prints out hello world. So I've essentially written the bash version of hello world now. And if I run my tests, I find that this test now passes that used to fail. So huzzah, we win. Then the next test that fails says the script prints out a line with the right form. Well, that's not a very helpful message. If we look at the actual test, we can see what that right form is. So it turns out that our answer is described, the form of our answer is described in this regular expression. We want an answer that says there were, and this plus means one or more, plus means one or more digits. So there were 1 or more digits followed by successes, and again, 1 or more digits, failures, period. The circumflex, the hat here means that this needs to be the beginning of the line, and the $sign at the end of the regular expression means this needs to be the end of the line. So we need to have a line where there's nothing before the word there's nothing after the period, and the line needs to say there were some number of successes and some number of failures. So if we replace this hello world with there were 347 successes and 892 failures, then that, if I've spelled everything correctly, should be in the right form. And so if I run the test, it says, hey, I did print out a line with the right form. And if I went and I said, oh, let's change the last thing to a question mark and rerun it. Now it fails again because I didn't end with a period. And if I change one of the numbers to 3x7yz, so some combination of digits and letters instead of just digits, we fail. If I change it back to 892, it will pass. Okay, so we now have a script that generates a single line, so it gets this test to pass, and that it has the right form. Oh, well, okay, that was easy. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and commit what we have. So if we want to see what we've changed, we could say git diff count successes, and it will show us that the minus means we removed this line, and the plus at the beginning means we added this line. So we replaced ls test data with echo. There were 347 successes and 892 failures. So we could say git add count successes. So we have to add it to what we're going to commit. And then I can say git commit. I can say modified the script to generate a response with the right form. So we'll leave it at that. Save and exit. And now we've committed that work. If we do git status, it'll say we're up to date, but that our branch is one ahead of origin, and that we could use git push to publish our commits back up to GitHub. I'm going to wait, and I'll save that push to the end of the video. Now, Emacs, back up to here. So our next test that fails is that we're not printing out a line with the correct number of successes. And if we basically cheat and look down at the expected output for files.tgz, we can see that the correct number of successes is 78. So we could fix this test by actually doing the work, or we could be like, well, let's just put 78 in and see what happens. And lo and behold, hey, we passed the test. Now, clearly this is not going to be a good strategy in the long run, but I'm going to just follow this for now, and then we will soon enough run up against the problem, and then we'll have to sort of deal with it properly. And so if we look at the next test, the next one that's failing says we don't have the right number of failures. Again, if we cheat and look down here, it's like, ooh, it's 22 instead of 892. So let's change that. Save. And run the tests. And look, everything passes but the last test. So we have managed to get everything but the last test to pass by just hardwiring this response. And if we run count successes, we get that answer. And if we say hand it files.tgz, we get that answer. If we hand it the other file set, we get the same answer, right? So it doesn't matter what we give it, which if you look at the script, obviously pays no attention to its input. It doesn't even mention an input anywhere. So we have a script that just says the same thing all the time, which happened to get us the right answer for this one. Turns out that 78 and 22 is the right answer for that input. but it won't be right for most inputs. And it is in fact not right for this input here, where the right answer would be 76 successes and 24 failures. So we're going to commit and push this, and in the next video we'll actually fix this and implement a real working solution. So I'm going to quit my editor, get status. We've modified count successes. If we want to know what did we do, we replaced these random constants that I just made up with the particular values that cause the next to the last test to pass. So I'm going to say git add count successes.sh, git commit, got all but the last test to pass. And then, because we know this is not really, that message makes it look better than it really is. Let's say this was accomplished through a hardwired echo command, which will only work for input or tar files with 78 successes and 22 failures. We clearly need to generalize this to take into account the details of the actual tar file being passed in as an argument. Okay, so let's save and quit. Now we got that committed. We're going to go ahead and push that up. And McPhee and my password. And now we're pushed up. And if we reload, wrong one, over here, we got this new commit. If we look at it, this is the message we typed in, and here's the change that we made in that last commit. So we have managed to get all but one of the tests to pass, but through just the rather crude tool of just using echo to print out the answer to the first test case. So that'll wrap this video up. In the next video, we'll actually finish up the problem and have it do the right thing, and then we'll be done. So thank you very much. Definitely let me know if you've got any questions.